Okay, I can record audio now. We will pass the turn. I think the best course of action here is probably to play both Death's Shadows. So I could Soul Guide here, making them fetch again. But no, I don't think I should do that. I think I should just let this Bloodghast come in, see what they mill. Okay, Grave Crawler, Hedron Crab. So I think maybe in response to this careful study, I can crack the Soul Guide. Of course, yeah, I think I go ahead and do this now. Because if I don't, and they have like if they put a Hogak into their graveyard, then they can just cast the Hogak because they get priority again. And they can restock their graveyard pretty quickly, but I think I needed to do that to prevent shenanigans. Dang. Oh well. They're going to cast Hogak, and that's going to trigger Vengevine? Oh, I thought that would trigger Vengevine. So let's see here. They can attack for a total of 6, which would, if they did do that, put my Death Shadows at 8/8. So I think I just take this. Dang. So I definitely needed to draw a way to kill the Hedron crab because he can now block with these two. And I don't really have any other options. Yeah, I really needed to draw like a brainstorm or a ponder so that I could hope to hit a lightning bolt or a pyroblast for the crab, and then I could swing for lethal. But so maybe I cracked the soul guide too early. That could have been a definite error. I'm just going to concede because they're going to win on the crackback. Yeah, I guess maybe I should have held off. We really drew kind of poorly. We flooded out pretty hard. I mean, we didn't necessarily flood out pretty hard, but, you know, we needed to draw spells and we drew lands. I think I keep this hand. That's pretty bad for us. We have no main deck outs to this Chalice of the Void. Except for our counter magic, which we did not have in our hand. So the only castable cards in our deck are the Dreadhorde Arcanists. I think I'm just going to scoop. We're going to bring in the Abrades, the Null Rod, and I think that's probably it. We are going to take out probably one Thoughtseize, one Street Wraith, and one Lightning Bolt, I guess. Maybe another Street Wraith because Street Wraith can't be flashed back with... I think I'm just going to take out 3 Street Wraiths. This maximizes the number of things that we can flash back with Dreadhorde Arcanist, and I'm going to submit that. It's possible I should have boarded in the Caracas because I know about the Yorion. Gonna mulligan that hand. This hand's a keep. And I think we bottom the... Null Rod seems like it'd be pretty good because it seems like there's some sort of... I'm not even really sure what kind of deck. We could bottom the Thoughtseize and then play the Delver and have the Force of Negation backup. I think I like that plan. So we are going to play the Delver, leave up Force of Negation backup. We're going to get a Steam Fence. Hmm. So I think I'm just going to play the Null Rod here, fetching Watery Grave. Baleful Strix. Wasn't expecting that card, because I did not bring in any Pyroblasts. That's unfortunate. Let us ponder. Days, Force of Will, and Polluted Delta. This hand is kind of reactive, and I feel like we should kind of be more proactive, but I think I will keep it. I don't really want to sit around waiting until I find a lightning bolt before I start attacking. And you know, with Death Shadow in the deck, I'm fine with trading a Delver for a Baleful Strix. Definitely going to counter that. Trueness Sphere, okay. Next turn we're drawing live again. So I am getting prisoned out of the game. I'm going to fetch Steam Vents here. Intuition, yep, nothing I can do about that. So now we are really screwed, because they are going to play Crucible and then they have Wasteland every turn for the rest of the game. And there's nothing we can do about it because of Trinisphere. So I'm going to scoop. That's Prison. Hopefully we can win the next couple games, though. That was very unfortunate sequencing because we had so few answers to the things they had. Yeah, I don't really know what I might have been able to do differently. Maybe we could have kept the Thoughtseize in hand. It seemed like from game one, though, that they had a lot more activated abilities of artifacts that we needed the Null Rod for. I don't know. I think we played that fine. Maybe bottoming Null Rod might have been better, because then we have the Thoughtseize, and we can Thoughtseize the Trinisphere. But then again, they did have a Mox Diamond, so they could have potentially had a more explosive start. Yeah, I don't know. That is, it can be a close matchup, but it's very high variance, and that was one of those times when we were just on the receiving end. Sometimes variance is not your friend. Two more matches to go for this league. And we are currently playing this Grixis Delver list. We will play first. This hand is fine. I'm going to lead off with Steam Vents into Delver of Secrets, because I feel like Thoughtseize is better when you have a threat in play. Okay, and we're playing against a combo deck, which sort of makes me regret not Thoughtseizing, but we'll see exactly what they have here. And it looks like we might be playing against Dark Depths. Turbo Depths. And they take our Brainstorm. And Pluto Delta, that's kind of unlucky. That's fine, though. I'm going to fetch a Watery Grave in case we draw a Death Shadow. and there's really no reason to conserve your life total against turbo depths. Yep, it is turbo depths. We are going to take the stifle here. But unless we draw a wasteland, it is not looking very good. Luckily, we are relatively immune to the duress and the Thoughtseize in their hand. Hexmage. Damn, that'll basically do it. That was a pretty good draw for them. If they sacrifice the Vampire Hexmage here, then yeah, there's now no longer any way we can win, I don't think, because I have absolutely no way to bounce that Merit Lage. So I'm just going to concede. So we're going to bring in Caracas. We are going to bring in Surgical Extraction. And we're going to bring in a Braid as an answer to Pithing Needle. So 5 cards, and we're going to be boarding out Force of Negation, because Force of Negation doesn't really do anything. I mean, it does stop a Pithing Needle, but... And I guess it can counter a Sylvan Scrying, but you kind of want counter spells that can counter Crop Rotation. And we need to board out 3 more cards. I could probably board out a couple of Lightning Bolt, even though those can help increase the clock. Maybe a single Thoughtseize, because after the first couple turns, there isn't much left in their hand to Thoughtseize. I don't know. That might be the wrong plan, but let me know what you think in the comments. We'll play first. This hand has a Wasteland. I'm going to keep it. And we can ponder on the first turn here. Dreadhorde Arcanist is very good here. It might have been a mistake to actually draw the Dreadhorde Arcanist. So I'm going to cast Force of Will on this Inquisition of Kozilek. I'm going to cycle Street Wraith here to hide the fact that we have a Wasteland. because showing them that we have Wasteland doesn't really accomplish anything. And a Bajoka Bog. That's fine with me, because we have this Brainstorm here. I'm going to play the Wasteland now, and I'm going to also go ahead and Brainstorm here. Maybe I should have tapped the Volcanic Island. Ooh, Delver. So I think I'm going to put back Steam Vent and Surgical Extraction. Cast the Brainstorm. And once again, I think we're going to put back the Surgical Extraction, because I want to be able to cast my Force of Will if I have to. We will flip our Delver. I'm going to Brainstorm so that we have something to flash back with Dreadhorde Arcanist. And I think I'm going to actually shuffle away the second Dreadhorde, because that's superfluous, because we have the other Dreadhorde Arcanist right now. Let's go ahead and flash back this Brainstorm. Perfect. I'm going to put back the Tarn and the Ponder here. Because I actually probably want to cast that Ponder next turn. And I think I might want to pitch Brainstorm to Force of Will rather than Ponder, because that gives us the maximum number of shuffle effects. If we see bad cards, for example, with Ponder, then we can shuffle, then we have a chance of flashing back Ponder with the Arcanist, so... It's also possible that we might want to pitch the Daze to Force of Will if we have to use it, because it is now getting to the point where it seems like they'll probably be able to play around Daze for the rest of the game if they want to. Yeah, I think I'm going to force that. We're going to pitch the Daze, and we're going to leave Brainstorm up. Slowly but surely working away at their life total. Okay. We have another crop rotation here. So I'm going to cast this Brainstorm, maybe in hopes of hitting, I don't know, a blue card and a Force of Will. Okay, so there will be nothing of the sort. I'm going to just let that resolve. I don't have any way of really responding to anything besides surgical extraction. Vampire Hexmage. So now we are basically counting on being able to find our Caracas. So I'm going to start off with a Ponder. We are not going to shuffle. Ponder again. We are going to shuffle. Ooh, another Wasteland. That's very good. Now we're going to play Death Shadow, which maybe I should have done after combat, but I don't think there's anything that they can have here to play around double Wasteland, so I'm going to attack with the Arcanist and the Insect here. We are going to Flashback Ponder. I'm going to shuffle that. And we are going to sacrifice Wasteland, targeting Dark Depths. Surgically extract the Dark Depths. And now there's basically no way we can lose. Okay, so that was pretty lucky. We were able to find that second Wasteland. So how do we want to change? We are now going to be on the draw. I think I'm going to leave everything exactly how it is. There is an argument that could be made for bringing in the Plague Engineer to be able to name Vampire and turn off the Vampire Hexmages, but I don't know. Plague Engineer seems really slow to me for a lot of these matchups. It costs 3, so often it doesn't come down soon enough to really make much of a difference. Although it is a great card. I mean, I'll bring it in versus any tribal deck any day, but I'm going to keep this hand because we have Wasteland and a Braid for Pithing Needle. We have Brainstorm and ways of shuffling away extra cards, extra lands. There is a Thoughtseize. They'll probably take our Brainstorm, maybe the Abrade if they plan on playing a Pithing Needle, naming Wasteland. Yep, they've taken the Brainstorm. So we could just Wasteland that Urborg, but then we leave ourselves open to Pithing Needle, Crop Rotation. So instead of doing that, I think I'm going to just play the Steam Vents here. We will take 2 and we'll pass the turn. That way we can leave out days. Of course, they'll probably play around the days now that they know about it, but they might not play around 2 Wastelands here. It isn't unreasonable to expect that they have a discard spell, so maybe this hand wasn't quite as good as I thought because, you know, the chances that they don't have a discard spell for our Brainstorm there. And the Brainstorm really was pulling a lot of weight with this particular hand. Sylvan Scrying. I'm just going to let this resolve because I can't really daze it. I mean, I can daze it, but they can just pay for it, so no point in that. Dark Depths is revealed as the card that they have chosen. So at this point, I'm going to start playing these Wastelands. Duress. That will resolve. We've been pretty lucky by drawing all these Wastelands. I guess my biggest fear at this point is that they take our Abrade and then play Pithing Needle around Daze. Of course, to play Pithing Needle around Daze, they would have to have another land that isn't Dark Depths, so that I don't have a chance to wasteland their Dark Depths before the Pithing Needle resolves. Ooh. Now we have Surgical Extraction too. One option here is that I could just double wasteland them. I think I'm actually going to do that, because I think that would buy me a lot of time. This could be totally incorrect. There's another Urborg. I thought maybe that I might be able to buy myself some time by doing that. That hopefully they wouldn't be able to just immediately follow up with another land, especially Urborg, which will make it so that their Dark Depths does produce mana. I'm wondering if maybe I should Surgical something here. Maybe I'll just Surgical Sylvan Scrying. So they have Urborg, they have another Urborg in hand. They have Thoughtseize, Stifle, and Dark Depths. Okay, that's good to know. Let's see. Yep. All right, they have... we'll have to play around those cards that we've seen that are in their hand. Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I'm willing to admit that maybe I made a massive mistake by using those Wastelands. But I feel like if we just let them sit there, then we give them plenty of time to draw a Pithing Needle. I could be totally wrong, though. I may have completely thrown this game in the trash. Thoughtseize. Okay. They'll probably take Surgical Extraction. So we knew their hand was Thoughtseize, so we know they also have Stifle, Dark Depths, and Urborg, and one unknown card at this point. I really need to draw some action, however. Maybe some cantrips, or a Death's Shadow, or Dreadhorde Arcanist. Even a Delver of Secrets would do. I mean, even a Thoughtseize would do. So there's still a lot of good cards that we can draw at this point. Yeah, in retrospect, I probably should not have used those wastelands. I sort of tunneled on the thought of, stranding them without anything to do. So we are flooding out super hard here. Flooding out to an extreme degree. We really need to draw Brainstorm to counteract this flood here. Seems like they're also not drawing very well, though. Lightning Bolt was definitely one of the worst cards I could have drawn. Yeah, we are drawing very poorly, unfortunately. But who knows? It could only take one card to turn that around. That is certainly not what we wanted to draw. And I don't feel like we need to add any more lands to the board currently. Feeling like a crop rotation is going to happen here, something along those lines. Probably crop rotating away Urborg because they have another Urborg in hand. What could this be? Okay, crop rotation, which I cannot daze. What are they going to get with this crop rotation? They get a Thespian Stage, which I could wasteland before they have Stifle mana up. So I think I'm going to do that. It's odd that they didn't add a blue mana there, in my opinion. Elvish Reclaimer. Yep. Can't bolt that. Death Shadow, okay. Not really what we need at this particular time. We'll see if I can maybe lure out a Stifle. Okay, they didn't Stifle it, but that's okay. I can at least play the Shadow now. I'm trying to think of how exactly we win this game, but it's hard for me to envision a path forward. I mean, maybe because this turn they'll probably play Dark Depths, and then they will use the Elvish Reclaimer to sacrifice something to get a Thespian Stage. So that means that beginning the following turn they will be able to make Merit Lage. We've flooded out so hard this game. I think I might just have to chalk this one up to bad luck. I'm going to attack here. I mean, we play 18 lands and we've drawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, 8, 9. So, oh, well, you know, some of those were fetch lands that we activated, but we have drawn an absurd amount of lands. So I'm just going to deal maximum damage here. And we have to really hope that we find Caracas. That's really our only out at this point. That is our only way of dealing with Merilage at this stage of the game. And even then, they still have a stifle, so that very well might not work. Or I suppose, if they somehow deal a damage to themselves, we could brainstorm into 2 more lightning bolts. I don't know. I feel as though we've lost this game now, which is unfortunate because we drew so many wastelands. In retrospect, I definitely should have kept those wastelands around, just saved them until they play a Pithing Needle. I think that is my lesson learned from this particular game. So we have no way to dig for a Caracas. We do, however, have one way of winning if they choose not to block. I don't see why they would choose not to block, but you have to play to your outs. Okay. Nothing I can do in response to that. Nothing I can do in response to that. And I'm going to scoop. So yeah, maybe that is a lesson on exactly how not to play against Turbo Deaths. You draw 3 wastelands and you spend them on lands that don't really matter and proceed to flood out. So wait to use your wastelands, ladies and gentlemen. We will play first. I'm going to keep this. I'm ashamed of that match. That was so terrible. I don't know why I did that. I just thought, well, I'll wasteland both of their lands. Maybe they won't draw any more lands, and maybe I'll draw threats. But of course, it played out very much the opposite of that. I should have just been patient and waited with my wastelands. But enough of that. We'll focus on this match now. Feeling pretty good about the way this match has gone. We found a Delver with our Street Wraith, and soon we might be able to play this Death Shadow if we can find some more life loss cards. I will reveal that. I think I'd like to ponder here. I am going to... So we have no way of casting these Death Shadows. I think I'm going to shuffle this. Still have no way to cast Death Shadow, so I am glad I shuffled though. maybe we will draw a shock land, or not a shock land, but a fetch land next turn. Presumably at some point we will. Play Volcanic Island and pass. Abrupt Decay. Yep. Well, I guess it's one less Abrupt Decay for our Death Shadow. And at least I can Wasteland that Underground Sea. No point in countering a Ponder. Playing against Snow Control here. I will not reveal Street Wraith. Will, however, cycle it. Attack with the Delver. Brainstorm is fine. Wasteland, huh? Not something you usually see out of these Snow Control decks. So maybe it's more of a Sultai Snow Control deck. I will reveal that. And now we've got an actual clock again. Ugh. So to protect this Steam Vents, we could bolt them and daze our own bolt. I think I'm actually just going to Lightning Bolt them and allow this Wasteland to resolve. And now we still have Force of Will backup. Ouch. That really hurts. So now there's an Ice Fang Codal. We need to draw a fetch land. And we actually only have one more Steam Vents left in our deck. That's the only way we can cast this Lightning Bolt. So now we are in pretty bad shape. I think I could probably safely concede at this point. I don't see any way we could possibly come back from this. They now have Oko and Ice Fang Codal. If we don't draw land this turn, I'm conceding. Yeah, I'm going to concede. Okay, so we're playing against Snow Control featuring Wasteland. I'm going to board out my Wastelands because it seems like they could probably operate off of mostly basic lands. Going to board out the Forces of Negation. And we are going to bring in the Pyroblasts, the Soul Guide Lantern, as a way of dealing with Euro. I'm going to bring in a single Surgical Extraction. I could see a case to be made for bringing in the Plague Engineers to deal with the Ice Fang Codals, but I kind of feel as though the blasts that we bring in and the dazes are kind of enough to deal with the Ice Fang Codals. I like having Force of Will as a way of kind of answering Swords to Plowshares, which we have not seen, and I kind of doubt they have Swords to Plowshares because they're playing Wasteland, so it seems hard to justify playing a bunch of colors and Wasteland, but you never know. People do all sorts of crazy stuff. To bring in Plague Engineer or not? Yeah, I guess I can. I guess I can cut a couple Force of Wills for a couple of Plague Engineers. And I'm just going to roll with that. This is not the best hand, but I'm going to keep it. We have Brainstorm to hopefully find more lands. It's an extremely reactive hand in a matchup where we kind of want to be more proactive, but if I play this a little bit more like a control deck, then maybe we can get there with this hand. They mulligan to 6, so that's at least something. They mulligan to 5, so... The thing is that Snowco recovers very easily from mulliganing because almost every card in their deck draws cards, or just is really powerful. So sometimes it doesn't really matter that they mulligan to 5. There was a similar way in Shardless Bug when I used to play that. If you mulliganed, chances were you were going to end up drawing so many cards it probably wasn't going to make much of a difference anyway. At least in fair matches. Okay. That is fine. Play Scalding Tarn here. And I'm just going to kind of play more reactively. I think I will Brainstorm from this point. I'm probably going to shuffle away Lightning Bolt and a Scalding Tarn. We'll grab Steam Vents. And I think I'll go ahead and play the Plague Engineer here, given that we drew the Volcanic Island. We're going to name Snake. Protecting ourselves from Ice Fang Codal to a degree. I kind of hope they play Euro here so that I can then play this Soul Guide Lantern, exiling the Euro. Okay. So I think first things first, I will Thoughtseize them. We might get Veil of Summered. No, it's okay, boy. My dog is growling at someone out there. Maybe they have an Abrupt Decay in hand that they're going to cast. Drown in the Lock. We are going to Pyroblast that, because I would like for this Thoughtseize to resolve. We could have kept that mana open to play the Dreadhorde Arcanist, but I feel like Thoughtseizing first, so that we can take maybe a potential removal spell for the Dreadhorde Arcanist. Maybe they're going to try to brainstorm here. I will Red Blast that. So we'll see what they're trying to protect here. Dead of Winter and Assassin's Trophy. Assassin's Trophy is pretty good, however, I want to take the Dead of Winter. And now that we know about Assassin's Trophy, we might not want to play our Dreadhorde Arcanist until after they use the Assassin's Trophy. Part of me thinks they'll probably Wasteland our Watery Grave this turn to turn off our black mana. And they trophy our Steam Vents. Interesting. Okay. As we have no basics, I will not use that. And they use their Wasteland to try and cut us off of our red mana. We only have one more red mana producing land in the deck. Dreadhorde Arcanist is kind of an unfortunate draw. At this point, I kind of feel like I have to play the Soul Guide Lantern to use its cantripping ability. And we'll just go ahead and exile the, I guess, the Dead of Winter. They seem to be kind of an unconventional snow deck, so who knows, they could have Snapcaster Mage or something like that. And this Plague Engineer kind of going the distance, getting in for a lot of damage. The Dreadhorde Arcanist was kind of an unfortunate draw at this point in the game when we just had both of our red sources destroyed. And there's Euro, which is probably going to prompt me to have to use this Soul Guide Lantern for its graveyard exiling ability. So yeah, I'm gonna exile their graveyard so they don't have a chance to escape their Euro. Kind of a bummer that we don't have access to any red mana with this hand, but we'll just keep playing and see what happens. Yeah, very interesting to see a Snowco deck take the Wasteland approach. Usually that's not really something you see out of Snowco. Of course, it's very good versus a deck with only non-basic lands when paired with Assassin's Trophy. Okay. They might name Carrier. So we really need to draw some more lands or something. I mean, we have essentially missed out on a lot of turns worth of stuff by having these cards stranded in our hand. At least there's something that we can play. Another Plague Engineer. That is very bad for us. I think in this position I will trade. He chose Human, that's good. He did not choose Wizard, which would turn off our Dreadhorde Arcanists. I'm going to shuffle that. We need lands. That's very good. I'm going to let him attack with the Plague Engineer next turn, and I'm going to leave up Red Elemental Blast for any kind of, Oko or something like that. And once they get to the end step, I'm going to bolt the Plague Engineer if they don't do anything else. And then next turn we can play Arcanist, and that's going to be very, very good. So actually, now that we know that their only card for turn was Polluted Delta in their Hellbent, I'm just going to go ahead and bolt that thing now. Oh, Polluted Delta. So unfortunately, if we play the Dreadhorde Arcanist, we can't leave up Red Elemental Blast, but I feel like we have to play the Dreadhorde Arcanist, so I'm going to do it. The Polluted Delta can only find Underground Sea or Watery Grave because we had our Steam Vents and Volcanic Island Assassin's Trophied and Wastelanded. So here's hoping they don't find a removal spell. If they don't find a removal spell, then I think we're in a pretty good spot, but we'll have to see. Oh, okay. Mystic Sanctuary returning the Brainstorm. That's pretty powerful. If only I had another red land, I could use this Red Elemental Blast on the Brainstorm, but that's not what's going to happen, I don't think. Once we start actually casting things with the Dreadhorde Arcanist, I think that's when this game kind of turns around in our favor, but we'll see what happens until then. They play so many removal spells that It's pretty common to just have them destroy everything that you do, and when they start cantripping, they can find removal spells every turn that they have to. Yeah, Ice Fang Kotal, that's fine. We can at least remove that with Red Elemental Blast. Or we can flash back the Lightning Bolt out of our graveyard, or Pyroblast Red Elemental Blast. Ooh, multiple Ice Fang Kotals. Luckily for us, we can actually remove both of them. But it makes it harder to accomplish our plan of completely turning off everything in their hand. So I'm going to go ahead and Pyroblast that one. And we are going to attack. And Pyroblast the other one. The way that they wastelanded us off of having multiple red mana is really slowing us down this game, but I'm still feeling okay about where this game is. I think we really need them to brick, though. Like, there's a lot of cards they could draw that would be very good in this situation. If they have another Mystic Sanctuary. Of course they do. Yep. The card is so annoying to play against. I mean, I guess that's kind of the whole Snowco deck, though. At least with our deck. I've just never played against one that had Wastelands as well as Mystic Sanctuaries. All these cards that they have. It's a good game, though. I mean, it's very back and forth. It's very close, so I just really hope they brick, because this has been so back and forth. We were very lucky to draw the fetch land to play our Steam Vents when that happened. Okay, there's an Abrupt Decay for our Dreadhorde Arcanist. So now I'm hoping we draw Death Shadow. That would probably be one of the best cards in our deck. Ah, perfect. So I'm going to fetch up Watery Grave, thus making our Death Shadow huge. And we're going to play the Arcanist as well. Let's see, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 snow permanents. So Dead of Winter sort of gets us. But I'm just going to go ahead and jam here. Leovold. Leovold is fine because I can Pyroblast that, or Red Elemental Blast it, rather. We do give them a card, however. And they have Flusterstorm. Okay. I think I'm just going to pay the mana. And now we get to flashback Lightning Bolt to swing for lethal. All right. That was a close one, and we almost lost. But now that we've seen some more things, I think we probably want to bring in the Abrades. We saw that they brought in their Plague Engineers, and that can be kind of scary. Um, we've seen that they do have Wasteland. I mean, we knew that going into this match from the very beginning. I think I'm just going to leave everything as is. I'm feeling pretty good about this configuration. That was a very close game, though. And they're playing kind of slowly, so their timer will be sort of low for the final game. They've already used like 15 minutes of time, I think, maybe more for the 2 games, so there's a chance that they will run out of time if they continue to play slowly. And they've disconnected. So it seems like maybe they weren't playing slowly intentionally. It seems like it might just be their internet connection. So to save any viewers' time, I'm going to pause the recording until they come back. All right, it seems like our opponent is back. I'm going to keep this hand. It has a lot of lands, but we do have Brainstorm and Fetch lands. And we have a turn 1 Thoughtseize that we can do, or we can cycle our Street Wraith to, dig a card deeper after our draw step. They choose not to shuffle. So we are going to cycle our Street Wraith, Death Shadow. We are going to fetch up Watery Grave and Thoughtseize them. Now hopefully they don't play Thoughtseize because I don't really want to strand this Brainstorm in my hand here. Drown in the Loch, okay. So I think we take the Abrupt Decay here. We could have also taken the Astrolabe and tried to strand those cards in their hand, but I feel like that's probably not the best course of action. So I'm definitely brainstorming here. Okay, interesting. Now we do have a way to counter the Drown in the Loch, which is nice. So I'm going to shuffle those away for an untapped Steam Vents. So there's 0. I'm going to let it draw a card and gain them 3 life, and then I'm going to Surgical Extraction it. Now we're getting to the point where our Death Shadow is going to be pretty big and we have multiple blast effects. They have multiple Drown in the Lochs, Mystic Sanctuary, and Brainstorm. Just going to take a screenshot of this real quick. Okay. That's very good. So they have multiple drown in the locks. They only have one black mana. I think the best play here is to play Death Shadow and leave up both of these blasts. So there's a wasteland. There's Drown in the Lock, which of course we will Red Elemental Blast. They are brainstorming in response. So I think I will go ahead and Pyroblast that brainstorm. They destroy our Watery Grave. I'm fine with that. And now we know their last cards are Mystic Sanctuary and Drown in the Lock. I'm just going to get Underground Sea here. We're going to attack with Death Shadow. And we're going to play our Arcanist here. So they are probably going to play the Mystic Sanctuary, putting the Abrupt Decay on top of their library, and they're probably going to play Drown in the Lock as well. So they can kill one of our creatures this turn. It could be the Dreadhorde Arcanist, honestly. But I could also see a case for killing Death Shadow, because obviously it's a 9/9, and that's pretty big. Come to think of it, maybe I should have fetched Watery Grave, because then they would be at 12 right now, and then if I get an additional hit with Shadow, that kind of puts them into bolt range. Okay, they're going to go ahead and take out the Death Shadow. I'm curious, though, why aren't they playing the Mystic Sanctuary? Oh, 3 or more other islands. So they're waiting until they have 3 islands so that they can get that value effect from it. I'm going to attack with the Arcanist here. We are going to... I'm going to Brainstorm. Very good. I'm going to put a Braid. I'm going to put Street Wraith and then a Braid. And I'm going to play the Delver and the Dreadhorde. So if they draw and play Dead of Winter, that really screws us over. However, I feel fine playing into that, because I feel like we have to press our advantage here. So they waste us off of black again, and what's this going to be? Ouch. Okay, there's the Dead of Winter. That really hurts. I think we just pass after that. Dang. So they've had a really good sequence of draws. Let's see, I'm at 2. Can I afford to cycle this Street Wraith? I think I can. Ouch. So that Dead of Winter just completely annihilated us. But there's still a chance we can win. I mean, we could draw a Death Shadow that they can't answer. So maybe with that Dead of Winter, maybe I could have abraded their Astrolabe to, turn off that black mana. Perhaps that's still something we could do, given that we have Lightning Bolt and Pyroblast to answer any sort of creatures. I think I'm just going to continue to use a Braid. Or I'm going to keep a Braid in hand so that I can use it to answer an opposing creature. Force of Will. We will Pyroblast that. Something tells me maybe they have a Flusterstorm here. Veil of Summer. To draw a card, I guess? Ah, I see. I thought that it made it so their spells could only be protected from countering by blue and black spells. Well, that's unfortunate. Because they have Volrath's Stronghold. So, first things first, I'm going to abrade their Astrolabe. So that they can't use it for black mana. They do have this Misty Rainforest, but I'm kind of hoping they don't have Underground Sea. Well, they probably wouldn't have boarded out Underground Sea, it's just that they haven't fetched it, so yeah, the Volrath Stronghold here is going to kill me in very short order. Fact of the matter is, they had that Dead of Winter, and that just completely destroyed us. It was the perfect card they could have drawn in that situation. So maybe that begs the question, though, did I overextend into Dead of Winter? And I think the answer to that might be yes. Yes, I did overextend into that. Ooh, Plague Engineer. That partly saves us. Because it turns off any future Icefang Codals. It basically turns Icefang Codal into just like a cycling creature. So that is a pretty good draw there. Of course, they can continue using the... and they get Dead of Winter again. God, this deck is annoying to play against. Yes, Dead of Winter, sure. Arcanist. They have another Mystic Sanctuary. Okay, thank God. Of course, they can put their Icefang Codal on top again, but at least we have Pyroblast for that. Problem is, though, then they're drawing many cards per turn. We need them to brick if we want to have any chance here. Okay, so they've now wasted us completely off of black mana, probably. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to use this Wasteland. Oh, they didn't. They used it on our Steam vents. Okay, we attack. And the correct thing to do here is to probably flashback Red Elemental Blast, targeting the Ice Fang Codal. So boarding out all of our wastelands obviously hurts really bad when our opponent has Volrath Stronghold, but that's never a card I've seen out of Snow Control before. And there's Oko, so now we are dead. This was an unfortunate match. Okay, I guess we're not entirely dead, because we can flashback Pyroblast on it. But then we have to sacrifice our Dreadhorde Arcanist to this Icefang Codal, and they still have Volrath Stronghold. I mean, we are so dead at this point that I don't even really know why I'm continuing to play the game. I mean, I have no answer for this Volrath Stronghold. Some small part of me still feels like somehow we can win with like a Death Shadow followed by a Timely Lightning Bolt or something like that, but I mean, it's just so over. There's just no way. And like, we have Daze in our deck that has been utterly worthless all game because they have drawn, you know, tons of lands. Yeah, there's no way we can win this, I don't think. Pretty soon they're gonna play like 2 impactful spells, you know, like they're gonna follow up their Icefang Codal with something else. And now we are officially dead. All right, I concede. So all in all, we went 1-4. Not really a league where I feel like I was playing my best. We did not see the Volrath Stronghold against Snow. Snow was definitely one of the closer matches. I guess Turbo Depths was kind of close, but I feel like it was very stupid of me to use my Wastelands. Don't really remember what Koopa Troopa was playing, but we lost that 0-2. Don't really remember what Doogie was playing. We lost that 1-2, and that was Hogak. And then our original match, don't really remember what we were playing against, but we defeated them 2-0. So thanks for watching. I will see you for another league. I'm starting to get a little burnt out on recording these, so I might just focus on my technical play for a while because, as you can see from my many misplays and mistakes, I don't feel like I'm currently at the level I need to be to really be setting the example of how to play this deck. So I, at the very least, hope it was entertaining, and I will see you guys later. Bye.